Welcome to Full Court Press. I'm joined by Charlie and Fabmir, and today we're discussing the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls are our favorite team, our hometown team, and man, it's been a wild ride this year.
Yeah, it's ups and downs. More down.
Yeah,
We got a lot of ugly basketball. We got a lot of nice basketball.
definitely not the start that we were hoping for. A lot of trade rumors.
Zach LaVine's
LaVine-
probably the hot topic right now.
Zach LaVine has been on a down year with the Chicago Bulls this year. He's been discussed in trade rumors before, but this time it seems like it is the closest he's ever been to actually getting traded. Zach LaVine destinations, I've heard New York, I've heard Philadelphia, I've heard Miami, I've heard LA, and I've heard that he has no market value. So, what do you guys think? Where do you think Zach's going to end up by the end of all this?
Well, first of all, his down year, don't think it's necessarily because he's worse. I think it's because he just doesn't care to play for the Bulls or Billy Donovan anymore. Just look completely checked out. He looks like he's over it. Looks like he wants a change of scenery. So, yeah. As for the no trade value, it's mainly because of his contract. And he's just, people see him still as just a scorer, even though he's more than that. It is what it is. Can't change that. But I've also heard Sacramento might go after him. Sacramento's apparently going to be super active in this trade deadline, so that's always an option. They could use another high volume scorer besides just Fox and then Sabonis every now and then. I've heard Orlando as an option, which I find super interesting.
I do too. I didn't even hear about them till now.
I don't think it's been that they're like actually looking at him. I think it's more so just like people are like want to kind of see him there, and like that's a place they'd rather see, because Orlando does not have the greatest shooting. Zach LaVine gives you that. Zach LaVine also gives you another option just to score in general, because their offense isn't the greatest in Orlando. It's been getting better as the season goes on, but still a bit lackluster. So Zach LaVine can help that. And Orlando's defense is already great, so can mask his deficiencies.
I don't know. Like, where I see him ending up, it definitely seems like the Lakers right now. As much as I hate it, because there's not a single package I want in return from the Lakers. But I also think he has like his game. Yeah, he's having a down year, but he's still like he hates Billy Donovan.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I would still prefer to get a new coach even before trading him. Obviously, the Bulls are playing a lot better without him right now, but I still think it's due to just like lack of coaching. He doesn't know how to use Zach LaVine in an offense. It's just ISO. Because even like obviously Demar's played some of the games too, but the offense when neither of them on the court actually looks good. When Demar is just on the court, it's still mostly ISO, but then both of them there's no movement.
Yeah.
So I still think it's a coaching issue, but the one thing that I've heard for Zach LaVine, I've heard mostly that there's no market for him too, but I actually heard that the Pistons had a deal centered around Jaden Ivey.
Oh Lord.
I was like, dude, if we were to get any deal, I would want somebody like that, like a young player who could be like a future piece of this team.
Jaden Ivey and James Wiseman, maybe a first.
Yeah, and some picks. Yeah,
I'd agree. I would like to see Jaden Ivey in a Bulls uniform. But since we're on the topic of Zach, if you were to go anywhere, where would you guys want to see him? You could give me one destination or two, however many you want to give. Where would you want to see Zach? Charlie?
so like where would I want to see, like not like where we get the best return, just like where I'd want to see him play. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, where you want to see him go?
I'd say a team like the Kings would probably be the most fun to see him on, just because they're a team who hasn't won much for a while. See them be more an electric player, light the beam for LaVine, dude.
Light the beam for LaVine.
That'll be kind of fire. That's where I'd want to see him go.
And you're already giving them a little slogan for if he does go over there. Me personally, I want to see Zach in Philadelphia.
Ew.
I want to see him in Philly.
Downfall.
I know that you guys probably don't like Philly, but I think that they have, if they were to get him, that their chance of winning a championship would just go up tremendously, and I think that they would be the best option in terms of contenders outside of Miami. Miami would probably be my second choice for him to go to, but yeah, I want to see him in Philly. I think him, Maxey, and Embiid would be pretty scary to see on the court.
I also want to say Sacramento, just because I feel like he works so well in that offense. Finally be able to be used off ball, catch and shoot opportunities. think he just do really well, especially with how good of a screener Sabonis is. Put the non-winning player takes to rest. I need that gone.
He's got to prove it.
Yeah, he definitely does have to prove it. Outside of Zach, there were a few other guys who were named in possible trade talks. Two big names as well, DeMar DeRozan and a favorite, Alex Caruso. All three of them have been targeted by the Lakers allegedly. DeMar's a hometown guy, LaVine's a hometown guy, and then I'm sure any team in the league would really want Caruso. But since Caruso was a former Laker, the Lakers fan base still loves him. So I don't want to see anyone go to the Lakers. But if they were to go to the Lakers, then I'm like, oh, okay, hopefully you get a ring out of it. But Caruso already has a ring. But I love Caruso. I hope we don't trade him at all. If I were to see him go, I'd want to see him go to a contender just because he has the heart of a champion, and I'd like to see him win again.
I don't think Caruso is going to get traded. The Bulls are saying like it's going to be extremely hard to actually trade him because they think he's one of their biggest success stories. So they just don't want to part ways with him. They love what he brings to the team and the culture he brings. So yeah, I don't think he's getting traded. I think last season they said it was a minimum of 2 first-round picks just to get him. As for,
Reasonable.
I think it's reasonable with what he brings to a team. If he does get traded, I want to see him on Denver. I think he'd be great for Denver.
God, dude,
Oh,
that'd be
that'd
insane.
be
be-
ridiculous.
I'd
be
love to see
overly.
him on Denver.
He would literally be like Christian Brown's mentor. It would be
Dude,
insane.
Yeah, the stuff he could do for that team would be ridiculous.
In a previous video, I think you said he's like a
I
mini
did
Alex
say
Caruso,
he could end up being like Caruso.
so if he went over there, he might just end up being like him for sure.
As for DeMar, I've seen him linked to Miami, to Golden State, to the Lakers. The Lakers actually said they'd rather go for DeMar and Caruso rather than Zach. The Bulls want to see what they would get from Zach LaVine's return and how the team looks like before they trade someone like DeMar. So he might not get traded, but if he does, bring him to the Warriors, I guess. Give us, because like we could get something like Moses Moody or Kuminga if they want to give him up. And they kind of need some more scoring besides Steph because Steph is really carrying the offense on his back.
The only issue is he's a mid-range guy, so it's going to be kind of awkward playing into that 3-ball type of game that the Warriors
To
play.
be fair, he is shooting 37% from 3 on 2.5 plus attempts. So
Everybody who goes to Golden State ends up wet balling. So
Yeah, maybe it'll be better for him. We'll see.
Steve Kerr could figure something out. I like Steve Kerr. He's a decent coach.
Yeah. How about you? What do you think? Caruso, DeRozan, if they get traded at all?
So I don't know. If we end up trading LaVine, I don't see a reason. And like I don't know. I feel like the Bulls are very much like on the brink of deciding to go full rebuild or not. Caruso, I saw the same thing where I like the but I really don't want to get rid of him, but since it's a contract year, and I don't know what we'll get back for LaVine, but if we're on the more of the rebuild process, I could see him getting traded. Contender, I would want to see him on like. It would be cool to now that Grayson Allen's gone. It would be cool to see him on the Bucks. It would be really. I don't know like Denver could if they could pull that off. That he would be an insane piece for Denver, or even like a team like the Pacers, dude. Like a young team could use his mentorship and like he's like they're already a gritty team. Literally any team would be better with Alex Caruso in contention runnings. So I would just hope that we could get like 2 first-round picks or something. DeRozan, honestly, like DeRozan's play style is he'd have to take a big step back to be fitting into a lot of these other offenses. I feel like, which I'm sure he would do willingly to win, but like a situation in Miami, I honestly don't see it working there for DeRozan just because Jimmy Butler is like the same player, just better.
Yeah.
Like mid-range game, like it would just be hard to space the floor with both of them on the floor.
I'd have to agree. I also do like your Caruso picks. Him on the Bucks. The Bucks are lacking like defense kind of heavily, so I think that'd be a great spot.
Yeah.
And then,
I like the Pacers.
The Pacers one
That
too
was-
because they're
that's
also
just-
lacking
They're such
defense.
a young team. They could use a guy like that who has
How
experience.
old
I mean,
is
they have
Caruso?
TJ
Like
McConnell.
28, right? TJ McConnell. He sucks.
He doesn't suck. I'm not gonna. TJ
Offensively,
McConnell is solid.
He's a good
Offensively, he's
defender.
pretty horrible.
He's
I
a
don't
solid
like-
backup point guard. That's what he is.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like. He's no like. You brought him up to like when I said Caruso. He's definitely not like impacting their
Definitely
team
definitely.
like
Definitely.
Caruso would. But like they could use that mentorship I mean, Halliburton's or Turner's probably like the other guy with the most experience, probably.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and he doesn't have much winning experience either.
Mhm.
So,
true.
but yeah, I like to see him like on a team of young, gritty guys that he could like lead the charge, kind of.
Before we let you guys go, don't forget to comment on the video. Let us know what you think about our takes. Should the Chicago Bulls trade LaVine, Derozan, Caruso? What do you think about the franchise overall? What's our direction? Don't forget to dunk on that like button. Dunking on the like button is the #1 thing you can do to push this video out to other NBA heads out there and get people to see full court press. Till next time. Peace.
Kobe White for most improved.